So we all know about the electric CLA that Mercedes made a lot of noise about. But did you know that they reverse engineered and retrofitted a small combustion engine into that small tiny space as well? And they did it quietly because that was launched at the same time. But only now, about 9 months later, have I been able to get in front of a car so I can show it to you guys and actually drive it. Because this is going to be not just an important car for them, but it feels like the first Mercedes in years that is going to be both affordable and attractive for us. So guys, here's the new CLA as a combustion car, and this is Mercedes' new two-prong approach, allowing customers to choose what type of propulsion they want, whether that is the full EV version, or you can go now for this combustion hybrid version. And that's all thanks to their new architecture, which is the MMA platform. It's the Mercedes modular architecture that allows for then to have different powertrains, but also to have different shapes and sizes for the cars. For example, we've also had the shooting brake come in now as a variant for this, and the recently unveiled new GLB, which is either a 5 or a 7-seater as well. So you can see this platform allowing for a lot of change in terms of body shape and size. So finally now, Mercedes going in the direction that I think we wanted them to go from day one, after those EQ cars left us, well, feeling a little bit cold. And speaking of cold, it is f***ing cold out here. And the reason we're here in the coldest part of hell, you might be wondering, is because apparently the 4MATIC system was unveiled somewhere here in some old Mercedes, and they've all gone off for a drive down that hill. And I'm here trying to do a normal road review, being stared at like a weirdo by everyone. But that's fine, because I'm here to serve you guys. So let's get on with the review of the combustion CLA, shall we? So a lot is riding on this little car because we need a cool and affordable Mercedes at the entry level, and the EVs can't really do that just based on the pure technology. So let's peek under the skin now. This particular one has a 48-volt architecture, and that allows for that mild hybrid to work. Before then, we have that new engine, which is the M252. It's got numerous technological advantages. For example, it runs on the millicycle, which means it's really efficient, and they've done other things to make sure it's really nice and compact to fit in here. And that engine will power all of the variants I'm going to tell you about today, so it's really important. And it's assisted, like I said, by an all-new hybrid system, and the core of that system is a new EDCT gearbox, an 8-speed gearbox that has a small electric motor built within it that provides 30 horsepower, and that's linked to a 1.3 kilowatt small battery that charges itself up to 25 kilowatt, and it can do it in all 8 gears as well. So really quite clever. And then that allows for your electric coasting, it allows for a little bit of city driving as well, and low speeds, but it's really indiscernible to the driver, and that's hopefully something that I can show you later when we go on some normal roads. In addition to that, we have a standard suspension system. There's no adaptive option, but that passive suspension I found in the EV to be really good. Let's see if it's good also in this lighter hybrid when we go out later for a drive. And you can either get a front-wheel drive version of the car or a 4MATIC like this car we have today. Now let's talk about versions. We've got quite a number in the UK and around the world. We have 3 different power levels available, all use that exact same engine and all use that exact same hybrid system with the 30 horsepower boost. So all of them are as clever as each other, the difference being the power level of the combustion engine. So we have the CLA 180, we have the 200, and we have the 220. Now in the UK, the CLA 180 starts at 38k. Like I said, making it quite attainable, quite affordable, and that comes in the sport trim. Now, you may think the sport trim isn't going to look that good, but it's actually quite a good looking car, particularly in this black spec. I think in some ways it looks better than the AMG line, particularly if you get a nice pair of wheels on it. It was actually quite surprising to me, so that's not a bad bet at all. Thank you, Jamie. See, sometimes he treats me nicely, that man behind the camera. Some hot chocolate. So that's your CLA 180. A bump up from that is the 200 with a bit more of that combustion power, and then the car that we're testing today, which is the CLA 220 with 4MATIC system as well. In addition to that, we have 5 trim levels in the UK. We start with the Sport Executive, AMG Line Executive, AMG Line Premium, and AMG Line Premium Plus. I'm amazed I remembered all of those. And of course you get more kit as you go up there, and the price goes up commensurately as well. But for this type of entry-level car, I'm thinking, do you need to go that far? Bear in mind, have a look at the spec sheets, see what you can get away with, because I wouldn't go mad on spec on something like this. Design-wise, our combustion car differentiates a little bit. We have a more traditional Mercedes-Benz grille instead of the lighted grille that you find on the EV, which I actually think looks a lot better. You get a slight ambient light just around the edge of the grille, which looks, it's just not so in your face like the multi-star lighted grille of that other car. And you've got the nice physical Mercedes stars within there. It just all kind of works a bit better. I don't know why. Maybe we're more used to it, but I really like the look of that. The rest of the car actually identical. As we said, they developed the EV first, so you haven't even got exhaust on the rear, which is probably a good thing because in the past they've had fake exhaust on these type of cars. So it looks nice. It's still got a bit of that EV bulk in the middle, as we said, because that car was designed first. But overall, quite a nice looking car. But if this particular shape isn't for you, as I said, they do the shooting brake now, and the shooting brake will come with all of those engine options. It'll come with all of the EV options as well. And again, if you want more space, more practicality, like I said, you can go to the new GLB, which is a really compelling car for me, I think. You've got the 5-seat option, you've got the 7-seat option, you've got all of the engines, I think, that you have in this car. And 5 or 7 seats means it could be a super practical thing. So combustion variants in the GLB as well. If you're wondering if there's going to be a combustion variant of an AMG in the future, probably going to be disappointed. There's only an EV being tested at the moment from what I've seen. Rumour mill says it's going to have EV sounds like the GT 4-door coupe. I previewed you guys in that little V8 sound clip. We'll have to see if that excites us, tantalises our AMG DNA or not. But for now, let's talk about the combustion version that you can buy. That is this one. Before we head out, we're going to have a quick look at the interior, then we'll see what this drives like on the road. So today's episode of RBR is once again sponsored by NordVPN. Now, a lot of phones and devices have inbuilt VPNs now, but the control that Nord has always given us, like choosing your region, which for me has been brilliant because when I've been abroad and I want to access my UK Crunchyroll or Netflix library or watch history, then it's easy to do. And it gives me peace of mind when using public Wi-Fi, protecting my data, my cards, etc., etc. So it's great as a VPN. But one product these guys have done recently that has been game-changing for things other than VPN is this thing called threat protection. Now, this is something you can turn on without turning on the VPN. And what Nord essentially wanted to do was make your internet browsing experience like it used to be back in the good old days when you didn't have these horrible websites with malicious ads you can't get rid of, and these websites that would track you and make a profile about you. Tell me if this hasn't happened to you. Like, I was searching for coffee machines, and for the next 20 days, all you see everywhere is coffee machine ads. And it's really annoying. Threat protection puts an end to all of that. It puts an end to the profiling. It gets rid of the malicious malware on these websites. Heck, it will even scan files you download for you to make sure they are safe for extra peace of mind. It's also really easy to turn on. Let me show you how to do it. It's within the NordVPN app itself. All you do, you go into the app. You don't need to turn on the VPN if you don't want to. You hit this shield button here, and then you've got threat protection, knock it on, and that is it. It can be turned on independently of your VPN. So there you go, so easy. And then you've got a much more peaceful internet browsing experience. And if you turn on the VPN, even better, because you've got that much more protection. Now, of course, as an RBR viewer, I've got you a great deal. Use the link below and go to NordVPN/RBR. And on a 2-year plan, you'll get 4 months extra free. And for peace of mind, you got Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So well worth trying it. So that's NordVPN.com/RBR. And you'll just have a more peaceful browsing experience. Guys, a huge thanks to you guys for always supporting our amazing regular sponsors. Now, let's get back to the car. So guys, this is Mercedes' all-new interior, and it's dominated by quite a large screen. And this actually is quite a clever system. It's their latest MB.OS or Mercedes OS, and I did a big walkthrough on this particular system when I last drove the CLA, and that was in the EV review. I'll leave a link to that down below. So I look at the self-parking, the self-driving, and we went into a deep dive of this system. But just to give you an overview, this screen obviously dominates the entire experience, and that's even in the standard car, where you will still get the driver zone and the middle screen as standard, and the passenger screen on this side being optional. And in this car, like we said, we have the 3-screen setup. You've got your driver zone, we've got the middle screen with MB.OS, and then the passenger screen. And finally, we've also got quite a large heads-up display as well, which looks great while driving. Within here, you do have some nice details like these turbine vents surrounded by the ambient lighting. In typical modern Mercedes fashion, there is lots of ambient lighting all around the car that really highlights the car nicely, particularly when it gets darker. These vents in the middle are quite nice as well. In terms of the mode select, we have comfort, sport, eco, and individual. One niggle I have with the mode select is when you press it, it automatically goes into the next mode. I'm in comfort now. Let's say I want to go into eco. I press it and it just goes straight into sport instead of bringing up the menu and then letting you choose, which is a bit unintuitive in my opinion. The system itself, very clever. That Mercedes sign at the top is their intelligent assistant that I still think needs some work. It does use ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. when you have other requests, but it seems to me a little bit slower and not as intelligent as the previous generation of MBUX. For example, if I say to it, "Hey Mercedes, my bum is cold."
Yes. Can you say that again, please?
My bum is cold.
I am switching on the seat heating.
Okay.
It should get warmer in a minute.
Okay, she showed me up there. It actually worked this time. But that's been hit and miss, and it's been something that we've been using a lot on this trip, as you can imagine. So it could use a little work. Okay, but when it works well. So that's good. The rest of the system is really intuitive, and I would really suggest that you look at my full review of the EV to see how that is. What was quite surprising to me is you still have the storage area underneath here in the central tunnel, which is not common for combustion cars, but as we said, the EV was designed first, so this still benefits from that. And you can have wildly different interiors. We've got quite a standard one in this particular car, which is simple black with white stitching. But the one we drive later, you'll see a car with the lime details, which looks quite exciting. They have a black and white version of the seats as well. So you can really choose the style that works better for you in this car. And it's nice that they've got a range of different options. One great thing is on the steering wheel, they've updated the buttons to be the physical ones like we used to have, like we had in the older generation of Mercedes steering wheels, which we loved, with your, lovely manual volume rocker and then your cruise control, speed control on this side being a physical button as well. One thing that you will note is missing though. Actually, let's see if you can see what's missing, and I'll moan about it later when I go on a drive. But I think we should go on a drive now. I really want to see what this combustion engine is like, and we're going to start the drive from a less strange place. So guys, as we begin the drive, we are actually right at the start of the press trip here. We've got a couple of cars parked up, beautiful mountains in the background here in Innsbruck. Now the way that you start the CLA, as I showed you in the EV, it's the same in our combustion car here. They've moved the starter button to the top of the stalk. It's kind of weird, but that's how it works now. It also has that electric start up and turn off sound. Why would you still, maybe because it's a mild hybrid? You don't need it in a, we know when a combustion car turns on. So first 100 yards, surprisingly, really smooth for a small engine. You come into these smaller engine cars, the entry-level ones, and you always expect a really rough and tough, noisy engine. This is not the experience that I'm feeling here. It kind of reminds me more of the larger engine combustion cars of the past in terms of its smoothness and the quietness here, particularly in low speeds where they're always the worst. So we've got all new engine in this car, which is that 1.5 litre engine that's bigger displacement than the outgoing 1.3, as we said, but more compact. And this is the most powerful one. It's the 220 with the 4MATIC. But fundamentally, in all the cars that you can buy in the combustion side, you have the same engine, you have the same clever hybrid system, and you have the same EDCT 8-speed gearbox. So either way, we're going to get a great idea today of what this engine is like, because regardless of whether you do 180 or you go all the way up to 220, the experience is going to be pretty similar. Now, as I said in the first 100 yards, what I love is the smoothness, the lack of vibrations that you would normally associate with a smaller engine that is always going to feel more strained, and it's nice and quiet. There's no horrible noises coming from the four-cylinder engine. It's pleasant. That's I think the overarching feeling I'm getting. It's a pleasant drive. Now, one cool thing is that you have the electric motor and the battery within this, and it's quite imperceptible unless you look at the driver zone and see exactly when that electric power is coming in. When you start to coast or in some low speed situations within town, as I found, it will actually just drive you using the electric power and the motor. Then you'll see the engine kick in and the revs build up, and then of course your engine is on and the engine takes over. But it's quite imperceptible, and it's not something that you ever need to worry about. Recuperation is handled well as well. It does it in all 8 gears. It does it up to 25 kilowatts of recuperation as well. So you never need to worry about that element running out. Now, in terms of the fuel tank and range, the fuel tank's actually bigger than what we've had in the CLA in the past. The old one was around about 43 litres, this one is 51. And as we started, the range we were being shown was around about 550 kilometres. Now, that's not bad, it's not incredible, particularly when you look at the CLA EV, which has an astounding 520 kilometres, as we tested in reality when I drove that car, which is pretty damn impressive. But of course, there's so many benefits of just having a pure ICE car. I don't need to sing the benefits of that to you guys. You're smarter than I am when it comes to that. And in daily life, the amount of range you're getting out of this and the fact that you can probably improve on that figure depending on your driving style is going to mean the world to just a lot of people who are interested in this type of entry-level car. So driving in comfort, the smoothness of this new engine, all of that is great. Now let's pick up the pace a little bit. The conditions, as you can probably tell, they're not ideal for driving fast, okay? So we're gonna take it easy, see how we get on with this car. I'm more interested to see, particularly versus CLA Hybrid, which is a heavy car, right? It's like the weight of, you know, something like a much larger car like the E-Class or the S-Class, thanks to the battery. This car's not like that. It hasn't got a giant stonking battery in there, so it feels quite nice, light and nimble compared to that car. This is just in comfort mode now, going faster. Again, you can't really perceive the engine that much, which is nice. I'm not feeling that typical turbo lag as well that you'd feel in a smaller engine like this. I know the conditions are weird, but gosh, do Mercedes pick nice places to do these drives. Right, we're going to go into dynamic select now, and it's gone straight into sport. Let's see how that differs. You can hear more of the engine. It doesn't sound horrible. Full cylinder, I always expect, right, this is going to sound absolutely awful when it's revved out. I wouldn't say that the steering sharpened up massively in that regard. 4MATIC is great in terms of, oh, that's quick, that's not bad. It's kind of fun, actually. The 0 to 60 is, what, 7 seconds, which again, decent. It's like powerful diesels in the past. Yeah, I can see you wanting to be tempted to use sport mode when you really want to pick up speed a little bit, but comfort mode was quite clever as well by itself. So it's nice, it feels a bit more nimble than the EV version. Obviously you haven't got the explosive power that the EV had, but this feels familiar. What doesn't feel familiar, I absolutely hate, I don't understand why they brought this across from the EV, is using the stalk to shift gears. That is me downshifting. That feels so unnatural and so unnecessary. I suspect that this is not something that's going to stick around, because when I previewed the CLA shooting brake in its EV form, just a static, in the last video we did, it had paddles, and they were going to use the paddles for recuperation. I have no proof at the moment, I'm going to ask the experts later, but I suspect in that case that paddles will come back for gear shifting, because this just makes absolutely no sense. And honestly speaking, I don't even want to review the gear shifts and the gear changing using this, because even if it's quick, it feels awful. Now, the other nice surprise was actually the suspension, because again, thinking from the point of view that this is an entry-level car, you've actually got really decent suspension here. Yes, the roads in Austria are great, but you would still feel, you know, a lot of the grain of the road, particularly having driven, you know, everything else in the compact class that Mercedes have done in the past. This feels different. Modern suspension is so good, and even the standard singular option that you get in the CLA, so far, really, really quite comfortable. This is primarily Mercedes-Benz, so we're looking really for luxury and comfort on a daily basis, and the suspension in this, really quite impressive. Again, a surprising element of this car, probably punching above its weight in that regard. Now, on a motorway, this car is buttery smooth. I was not expecting this. I've driven a lot of the compact class of A-classes, CLAs, whether it was the plug-in hybrids or the standard combustion cars, and the way that this car glides across the road on a motorway is truly surprising for this class of car. It's so quiet, like there's hardly any wind noise, hardly any tire noise. I can barely perceive the engine when I'm driving like this. The fact that it will do electric coasting up to 100 kilometers an hour as well. there's always this horrible lack of urgency in a smaller combustion engine that kind of puts you off from driving either fast or smoothly, and this hasn't got that because you're assisted by that. Yes, it's a small electric motor and a battery, but it's all tied in together so well that the final result is this is a really comfortable Mercedes-Benz on a motorway. And I think that's really important for a daily car, and it's really important for a car that is meant to be the best luxury car in the segment, because it is a Benz. Now, one thing I want you guys to know is when we left, it said 550 kilometers of range. We've done about 40 plus kilometers since then, including when we were driving faster in sport mode, through city, etc. So a lot of varied driving. It's almost unchanged here. At the moment, I can see 543. So just remember, whereas EVs, the range is pretty much set in stone, with a combustion car like this, particularly an advanced hybrid one like this, it really depends on your driving style as well. And again, that's another big benefit of this car. And again, I've said it a number of times, I just want to repeat, the motorway performance of this thing really surprised me. This is a great motorway car, right up there with the mid-size executive cars for comfort. Guys, just a final update on the range situation as we're about to leave here. And you can see 81%, 569 kilometers we ended up with, because it depends how you drive. That means we've done around about 150 since we started, since refueling in here. In fact, even more. So we're talking over 700 kilometers of range in this hybrid combustion version, which is fantastic considering the fuel tank size. So, range king of the CLA series as well. In conclusion, buying an all-new Mercedes that is affordable and attractive in this generation, I feel, has been a real struggle for all of us. The A-Class was the hero for us that got such a mild facelift that was in some ways worse. Then we had the C-Class with its price hikes, bringing that car out of the realm of affordability. And then finally the EQ cars that really didn't feel Mercedes at all. This petrol hybrid CLA feels like the first Mercedes in a long time that is actually going to hit that nail on the head. Starting at 38k, at least right now in the UK, that's a whole 7k cheaper than the EV CLA in comparison. And that fact by itself makes the car so much more affordable and attainable for so many more people. Plus, you haven't got the inherent fear like you do in every EV, no matter how acceptable the starting price is, and the CLA EV is a decent starting price. You have that fear of the depreciation element, and what will the car be worth in 5 years' time? This is just a much more traditional car in that aspect, where you're not going to have those fears. And it's not like just because it's entry level you somehow have a worse off car. Just look at the interior. You've got things in this that even the big boys in the executive class of Mercedes-Benz don't have. It's their most up-to-date, technologically smart interior. And then finally, the refinement that we found in this humble compact class car in terms of this entire drivetrain, in terms of the suspension, the way it carries itself on normal roads and on motorways, to me makes it pretty much unmatched in class in terms of luxury and refinement, just as a Mercedes should be. And despite just how advanced this hybrid system is, it just feels like a really familiar combustion car experience. And I think the way that the car market is today, a bit of familiarity in a great entry-level car is going to go a long way. So I'm super impressed with this. It's my favorite entry-level Mercedes in a long time, and a car that I'm more than happy to recommend to you guys. So guys, I hope this petrol hybrid review of the CLA has been useful. If it has, please do like and subscribe to RBR. We're a small team. It's just me and the guy sitting in the back there. We're not part of some big corporation. So your support is really important. We want to smash that 500,000 subscriber mark as well. So if you have enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.